There is such a whole line of small variables that if you at the end add them up together, you will just come to the conclusion that you will never drink the same tea again.
Today I get to sit down with Master Shi Heng Yi and talk all things tea. We talk about the tradition of the tea and some of the philosophies and what that actually means. Today's video was made possible, as always, by mulliganbrothers.com, where you can get the new poster, the Inspire Change t-shirts, and so much more, where all the profits go back into creating this content. Use code STOIC for 10% off of the poster. Today is also sponsored by BetterHelp, where you can get professional online therapy with the link in the description, something I have been using for the last year, and I fully recommend online therapy to anybody who wants to give it a go. Follow the link in the description where you can find out more. But before that, the traditions of tea with Master Shi Heng Yi of the Shaolin Temple Europe. Let's dive into the video. So what makes that tea so expensive?
No, actually the number one is like really the age in that case. But I think to give you a full understanding, let's say, or a better understanding, here on this tea table, you have, like, I'm not sure if you can see it, you have those two characters standing. Mm-hmm. This is the character for cha, meaning tea. This is tea. And this is the character for Dao. Dao is sometimes translated as the way. So cha Dao, meaning the way of the tea. And there are existing still nowadays. Sometimes if you go to Asia, you find there are plenty of so-called tea masters. And no, I'm not a tea master, to just say it right in the front, but I have some understanding about it. And I'm still learning. But so far, how I bring together the way of the tea now in combination with what we call right now a tea ceremony, or actually it's called a tea appreciation ceremony, is that if you just think about where all of this tea is coming from until it really ends up here on that table, meaning in which year was that tea, let's say, grown? Then afterwards, in which year was it like I don't know how we call it, was it taken? Yeah, by who was it taken? With what type of intention did the person who plucked the tea leaves took that tea? So what I mean by intention is, did he take it because he was thinking, I want to share part of my culture to the world? Or was the intention, I want to earn money with it? That's why let's make it quick. Just put it in the bag and ship it somewhere. And I make it now a little bit quicker, but all the way from wherever this tea was growing until it arrives here in Germany right now, there is such a whole line of small variables that if you at the end add them up together, you will just come to the conclusion that you will never drink the same tea again. And now I'm just in the stage of preparing, but there is something to the way of how this tree eventually is traveling until it really reaches the place where you want to drink it. And also right now, even that it has arrived. Now it also matters how much quantity of that tea am I going to put into the pot. How hot is the water going to be that I will pour in? That's why sometimes we have green tea, white tea, yellow tea, black tea, or pu'er tea. There are different temperatures sometimes, which people say is like optimal for the tea to open up its flavor. And ultimately, of course, it's also the amount of time, how long you're letting the tea soak inside the pot. And all of this adding together, just meaning that every single cup eventually that you will drink is like one of a kind. And to have this type of, let's say, understanding, this type of background, just we're talking about tea, right? It sometimes gives you some space for you also to now take that story of the tea and project it, for example, also to other people, which means everybody has a different history, everybody has a different upbringing. That's why it's always not so easy to take that saying like with the first sight. I don't know how you say it. With the first sight, sometimes you can judge somebody already. Mm-hmm. I don't think. There was a time I thought like this. I even like almost convinced myself that I'm right. But I always learned again and again, I was, in most cases, my first judgment was never right. So that's where I also stopped doing it. Because what you see in the beginning about people, for example, it's the way how they talk, it's the way how they behave. So it's like you see the external aspects about them. But it's very difficult at first glance to get a glimpse of what is it that is fueling all of these actions, all of these behaviors, all of these thinking patterns of persons. And that's why, as long as I think you don't know really the history, the upbringing, and where somebody is really coming from, where he went through, it's pointless to judge, because you're going to be wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is a little bit that idea of the tea appreciation, leading eventually to the appreciation of people in your surroundings. Yeah. And yeah, in those ideas about being a tea master is also that understanding in the moment where you fully grasp the essence about the tea. They say you understand what life is, because it's hidden inside there. Yeah. So sometimes very philosophical, but of course there's some truth to it. Mm-hmm. Always is the question, how much can you relate to it? How much space sometimes are you taking for yourself to really sit back, have a cup of tea, and then think about things like this. And this is also why drinking tea, having a conversation while having a cup of tea is like a common thing in, let's say, Asian cultures. Some people still keep it alive. But that is like one point why it's called tea appreciation ceremony. It's the time to think about something essential.
I love it. The idea of applying that as well to people. We can judge so easily, especially when we put our own experiences and think that, we struggle to not think that everybody's been through the same thing that we've been through, and that they've got their own past, their own story, their own life, and that they are away for a certain reason. In terms of this tea, do you know any of the history of this particular tea we're about to drink?
Well, that one is a so-called pu'er tea. And pu'er tea, I would say, is like between, like people say, it's the white tea first, then comes, let's say, the green tea, then comes the yellow tea, then you have black tea somewhere, and then oolong tea also different. These are different types of, it's all the same tea plant, but they are processed differently. So that means some are dried directly, some are then processed additionally, for example, processed with different flavors or letting it dry in special locations. And this pu'er tea is called red fermented tea. I think in the European world there's nothing similar like this. But if you are, for example, a coffee drinker, and you would like to switch to drinking tea, I think this would be the closest one.
Oh, brilliant.
That somehow would be able to substitute that thickness and that strong taste of coffee. Now that one, my master, who was here in the summertime, he brought it from Taiwan. And I do not know exactly where this is coming from, but he told me it's a special one which is still coming from a very old communist time.
Wow.
So that must have been a few years, and I think it's at least 40 years old.
Wow.
Yes,
So
and therefore...
tea older than myself.
Yes, and you will already probably feel by the taste that it's different, it's something different. Yeah, hard to tell. That's why right now, let's see.
I mean, I'm a huge coffee drinker, but obviously every time we visit the temple, you prepare us a lot of tea, and I always enjoy it. But I would love something that I could drink at home that I felt could replace the coffee. Yeah, I think it's more of a bad habit for myself, actually, the coffee is.
And now, when it also comes to this type of how we're drinking the tea right now, there are like small details, but I can maybe still explain. We have like 3 cups, for example, right now, but only 2 people, you and me. Because the third one is the one that we are offering for all the ones that cannot be here with us, for example. So this is one aspect where things like the spirit, the ghosts, the dragons, all beings that cannot be seen in the world of forms, still we are in a way respecting them and showing them they can be here, they can also be not here, but in case they would be existing, it's better you offer them something. So that's why we have the third cup, or sometimes we also say you're offering it to the Buddha, if you are coming from a Buddhist tradition. And also the next thing I'm gonna do, also sometimes really strange to people, is that the first flush is either used to heat up the how you call them, the cups. So first one is to heat up the cups, and now the reason why I pour it, for example, over the pot is also that for every type of tea we're normally only using one type of pot. So this is, for example, our so-called pour pot. In that pot I only prepare that red tea. I never pour any other green tea, white tea or yellow tea inside, because that is another understanding about the more you condition something, the more you expose yourself to something, the more it takes the color of it. And so also meaning now, if I translate it for my field of the martial arts, if I concentrate and I want to train myself in one specific area, I stay with that area for some time until I have fully taken all the essences that this teaching is transmitting to me. I do not mix up one day this teaching, second day this teaching, on the first day I learn from that person, a week after I learn from that person, 3 days after I'm not in the mood to do anything. So no, you stay with one thing and then you let time do the work. You just do the repetition, use the same tea over and over again. But what happens is that this type of material in that case, it has the pores open, and from time to time, the more often it happens, it's taking already the flavor of that tea. So even without having any type of water inside, sooner or later you will even have a very slight smell of that tea with that pot. And that also means it is a way of filling up something with life. Very similar to the question that we had a few days ago about what's the purpose of life? You give it a purpose. You give something life. For other people, this is just a normal teapot that maybe you can just buy somewhere or everywhere. I don't think so. You can place another cup, another pot over here which looks identical. But I know it's not identical because the one has no life behind him yet. That one is full of life meanwhile. And so, yeah. And another functional, probably, reason why we are pouring off that first flush is also to get rid of, let's say, if there is some dirt still inside the tea, that it's with the first flush that it's gone, you know. Now,
sorry, you talked me through this just before I do. What's the best way to drink the tea?
We usually drink it in I drink it in three zips.
Okay.
Yeah, but feel free. However, it's tasteful for you.
Yeah,
if you want smaller ones, up to you.
Okay.
Thank you so much to Master Shi Heng Yi and the Shaolin Temple Europe for doing this for us. I want to say, everyone's been asking me, what did the tea taste like? And I do talk about it in the full interview that's going to be coming very soon. But the tea was amazing. We now have a full traditional tea set here in the studio. Since we filmed this project, we've been having tea pretty much every day. And it's become a bit of a tradition around here as well. We follow the rituals and we enjoy our tea. So it's been amazing. So when we get a quiet moment, we will take tea. Niamh will take tea. Luke and William will take tea as well. We'll get editing. We'll have a big teapot there. We've got the small little cups, and we really think about where that tea came from. So if anyone is asking, yes, I love the tea. Our tea isn't that expensive, but it has got me into tea drinking. Today's video was made possible as well by betterhelp.com, a place where you can get online professional therapy with the link down below. It's something I've used for a year now. Every single week I use online therapy, and it's been one of the best things for me, for my self-improvement, my mental health, my relationships with my friends, and growth, like real growth. Like it's a difficult process, but it's a worthwhile process. I recommend trying one session. Click the link down below, try one session. If it's not for you, you'll know if therapy is not for you after one session. That's my opinion. That's how quickly I knew. So yeah, click it down below. Thank you to BetterHelp for helping us support these projects. Also, thank you to everybody who supported us at mulliganbrothers.com, where you guys have bought the t-shirts, the hoodies, and the journals. But also, I want to say the Memento Mori poster is available, 10% off using code STOIC. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you gained some knowledge and wisdom from this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.